So what's up, YouTube? So this video is going to be a little different than what I normally do. So tonight I'm going to talk about, or today, I'm not sure when I'm going to load this up, but what I'm talking about is some of my own things, like who am I? So the man behind the shoes, I suppose, or behind the feet. I get asked a lot of questions in the DM, like, hey, how'd you lose your leg? How long did you serve? So this is just basically like an informal, this is me. This is who I am. I am 35 years old. I've been a sneakerhead a really long time. I've always loved them. I haven't really collected them. A lot of times I just wore them to death. I had to get to a point where I had enough in my inventory to, what's the word I'm looking for? To rotate, to have like a large rotation. But how did I lose my leg is always the big question. How did you lose your leg? So I lost my leg in Afghanistan. I stepped on an IED in 2010. And, that event changed a lot. It changed everything. My family went through all kinds of hell because of that. I was in the Army for 10 years, right? I joined in February of 2002, and June 2nd, 2010, I stepped on the IED, and I would never actively serve in that capacity again. And, and a lot of times we leave out the family and the drama that they go through, and the trauma, really, that they go through, and the pain that they have to deal with. And, with that, I try to, these are my kids behind me, by the way. I'm very fortunate to have these two guys in my life. But, we really struggle with the idea, like, the stress is unbelievable, and my children got to experience at a very early age the realities of war, the realities of combat. What does that look like? And I don't know how many people out there that watch me or that follow my Instagram page have experienced the realities of war or combat, but, I do a lot of these talks on, like, Veterans Day, usually, and I was hoping to get this video up by Veterans Day, but I didn't really get that opportunity to do so. So I'm going to speak a little bit about my experience with coming home and reintegrating into society. This is something that's very, very important to me. I feel like that as veterans, we are very much on the outside. We don't know how, at least I don't know how, or didn't know how, to reintegrate back into society. World War II, they had banners flying, everybody came home to their community. They became who they were before they left. With us, at least with me, I couldn't return to that person anymore. I never got the chance to mourn the death of the man who I was. So I never really came to a level of acceptance with the man that I became. So, and how am I supposed to reintegrate with society when I can't even reintegrate with myself? The reality is that PTSD for me is frozen in a point, in a minute, in a second of time. There's a part of me that's just stuck. So how do I help? Because I have a voice. I'm very outspoken, very loud. If you know me, you know that I'm very, rambunctious in public. I will talk to everyone. I tend not to clam up. Like, that's just not my thing. But it is others. Other people do that. They won't. And we get frozen in these walls in our mind. Right? And then those walls become the walls of our home or our apartment or whatever. And we dig in. Veterans will isolate. We have a high probability of drug and alcohol use. So what can we do to reach that veteran? And a lot of people ask, because when I talk to high schoolers, they kind of have this like idea that, and I kind of foster that idea to ask me anything, any question you have that you want to know. And inevitably, I always get the question, have you killed someone? And while I understand that that's kind of a question in your head, I understand that that's probably not the best question to ask a veteran. However, I will do my best to answer that question. I have pulled the trigger with the intent of protecting those behind me, in front of me, around me, wherever they may be. I have pulled that trigger and made sacrifices to ensure the safety of others. And that's what I'll say. Because, you lose a piece of yourself when you do that action. It is not normal to engage the human form in combat. It's not. So for me, I loved the Army. I loved it. I loved being in the military. It was one of the best things that's ever happened to me. I was a knucklehead before. It has given me an opportunity to provide for my family like I never would have been before. Ever. I never, ever would have been able to do that. But with the Army, I could, you see. And with that, now I'm able to engage in a future. I go to school full time. I'm hopefully going to be a history teacher at some point, God willing. And if I had not joined the military, I would not be able to do that. That is something that has been a blessing for me like none other, But so anyway, the point of this is, how do I reach the veteran? How do we reach the veteran, right? Because there's a cutoff, right, between the vet and society. We find it hard to reintegrate. I found it hard to reintegrate. And so I turned to drugs and alcohol to kind of ease my anxiety. It's a really, really bad choice. It's a really bad choice. And I would take that to extreme proportions. I would do permanent damage to my body with drugs and alcohol. But there has to be a bridge between that, the veteran and the civilian. There has to be that bridge, right? And how do we do that? With uncomfortable conversations, right? It's weird to go up to someone. I get thank you for your service a lot, and I don't want to sound ungrateful when I say this, but thankful or thank you for your service is like, to me, I don't know. Like in my head, when people tell me thank you for your service, what I hear is, I don't know how to thank you for what you've done. I will never understand what you've done. And I don't know if I even want to try to understand what you've done. But what I will do is just say this and go about my way. And that's cool. That's cool. I get that. But can we, as a society, as a group of people, can we engage these veterans in conversation? Oh, you served? What branch were you in? Where were you stationed? What did you do? What was your MOS, military occupational specialty? What was your job, right? And if you start getting these vets to talking, maybe they'll let you in. We need to reintegrate. We need to come home. And with the way we are now, wrapped up in our phones, our houses are bigger, but our relationships are thinner. My daughter spends a lot of time, upstairs on her phone. My son he plays a lot of video games. And, I wonder if we could foster a better relationship. I'm sure that I could. But I can tell you that I don't know my neighbors' names. I don't know who they are. They don't know anything about me. They know I'm a vet. That's about all they know. But then, that's on my license plate, and that's kind of the thing is, how do we reintegrate to a society, to a community that's somewhat dead? And it's kind of sad. We have to bear witness to these soldiers. They have to heal. And the way that we heal is we listen to their story. We listen to them. And if I can be a voice for them, great. I hope that when you have an interaction with a soldier or a Marine or airman or Navy guys, I'm not going to, they're seamen, or they're chiefs, the khakis. I hope that you can reach out to them in a way and have a conversation with them, because they may not have talked to anyone in months. 21 suicides a day is the average. And that's a lot for a group of people. And it's a small group of people. It's 1%. 1% of the American population will serve. 10% of that 1% will actually see combat. Now, think about that. 1% of the American population will serve, and 10% of that 1% will actually see combat. And when you really start to look, and not that, you don't even have to see combat to experience death, to experience trauma, to have experienced something that's changing, that's life-changing. This is one of those areas, one of those platforms that I will talk about. I will talk about this. And generally, I just talk about sneakers. I try to keep it chill, try to keep it, simple. But when it comes to veterans, there's a problem. How do we reach the veteran? How do we reach them? They're locking themselves away. Not all. I'm not saying all, but the ones that we can't get to. It has taken me years and years of therapy, of talking, trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy. I had to get sober, to heal. And I'm still in this process. Like, the reason that I don't get up on YouTube as much as I can, because it's really easy for me to take a picture, throw that up on Instagram, right? It's another thing when I'm having a down day or 3, and I don't really want to interact, And I still struggle with that. I still struggle with, life. Leaving the house. I go to school every day. I'm a single parent. I'm raising these kids, but I still struggle with life. How do we reach the vet who doesn't have what I have, who hasn't done what I've done, taken the steps and the measures? How do we get that one vet seeing someone? If you know a vet, reach out, talk to them, try to bear witness to their story. Allow them to heal and to come to love the person they are now. I know this is a really weird topic, but for me, this is it's very close to home. But so that's my stance on that. And reach out to a vet, talk to them. It's important. A little bit more about me, and my family. Also, my kids got to experience some rough sides, my family broke apart. We really did. We had a complete disintegration of the family unit. My PTSD was really bad, as one expects it would, from the trauma that I experienced. I was in a lot of pain, and I had a steady flow of prescription pain meds. My daughter, is an amazing, amazing little girl. Like the rock of this family. Like, she is the one who has stood the test of time through all of us, She even stressed out, though, for a while. She was pulling her eyebrows out when she was little. I mean, it was a stressful and hard environment, situation. But, she persevered. My son, who is, has emotional and social issues, still pushes through. And he's an amazing little boy. Like, the light around that kid is amazing. I am very blessed to have the 2 children that I have. My daughter's a competition cheerleader. My son plays video games like no one I know. Like, like skill with the skill. It's amazing, you know. But he's also one of the sweetest boys you will ever meet in your life. You know, and I'm so proud of what they have overcome and what they continue to do. You know, and the way they continue to be. You know, coming from what they've come from, experiencing drug and alcohol addiction, experiencing the dissolution of their family, to experience anger and rage, and to experience the realities of war. You know, these are trials that most 11 and 12-year-olds don't walk through till much later in life, if they ever walk through them at all. You know, and I'm very proud to be their father. So I covered the service, when I think about vets, how I lost my leg, my children, you know, what I'm doing with my life now. And again, this is one of those videos I probably won't do very often. But I was just in it, and I was in the mood to do it, and I hope, I mean, if you ever have questions, just put them in the comment section. Maybe it's something I can do every now and then, just answer some questions. So down in the comment section, you know, leave some questions, and I'll get around to answer them. Thank you for your time, and, you know, thank you for your patronage. I still find it amazing that people want to look at my pictures, check out YouTube videos that I do. Like, to me, it's very strange. You know, but for me, talking is therapy. For me, reaching out is key. So if there's ever a time when you feel like you need something, hit my DM up on Instagram. I will answer that. Hit me up on my email. I will answer that. It's on my my YouTube. I will answer those emails. Leave a comment in the comment section, and I will get to those when I can. It's best to reach out than it is to sit on it. You know, because I can believe something in my head and it'll burn me up, but the minute that I say it to another person, it loses that power over me. So please feel free to reach out. I love y'all. Thank you.